You ready?
Are you gonna do like that intro thing?
Damn straight.
Okay. I'm gonna laugh.
I know you are. This is the BAM Show, Barter and Marketing, where we get you the real deal. I'm your host, Joshua Smith from Sherwood, and I got to tell you, intensity is just coming through from this guy. I can't even do an intro justice except for this. I feel like the first word out of his mouth as a baby was definitely not mama, dada, water, whatever normal kids say. It was digital. Something like that. But I'm not getting into any more. I want to introduce an awesome guy, Jeff Nicholson, head of media for VaynerMedia. It is a pleasure to have you.
Thanks,
Great to see you.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, it's something here. So you handle a 200-person department, I believe.
I do.
Take us on a journey of how you got here.
Sure, yeah, so I've been in the space for over 10 years. I'd say the biggest thing I started with, I just taught myself how to run ads. Kind of got lucky, introduced to a family friend who was looking for smart people to understand Google. And so within the first week, I was running ads for Brooks Brothers and immediately knew that it was my career. And it's a combination of art and science.
Like the early 20s?
Yeah, I'm talking right out of school. I worked in private wealth for about a year, hated that. Just was too corporate and started running ads and worked at a very small startup called iProspect, which is now a huge global empire.
All right, just so we're clear, because I'm a lot older than you.
Sure.
Running ads on what? What were you running ads?
AdWords, so Google.
Google.
Yeah, this is old school.
Old school.
Yeah,
all right.
Similar to Gary,
Yeah. I got it. Okay.
So started running ads and ran the advertising group at Social Code, which my best friend founded. And then switched to Vayner really for one simple reason. I wanted to change the industry. So I incubated a media company inside of a successful creative agency to really change the game.
Is Snapchat yesterday's news?
No.
Why not?
Because honestly, I think everyone wants them to win. I think very much in the marketplace today, the duopoly of Google and Facebook create more fear than excitement. And so I think a lot of people are looking for that third player, and a lot of people are hoping it's going to be Snapchat.
But you don't think that people are just like the novelty is worn off and people aren't using it as much and it was really cool? I mean, listen, I use it a lot. I think it's very cool. I mean, again, people use it for different reasons and people advertise, but I mean, growth rates have declined on users, but that doesn't mean that you're dead. I mean, I think it's hard to sustain. I also think that people put unrealistic expectations on Snapchat in a world where the two largest companies in the world, in some case, are your competitors, and they're twice as old as you. And yet people want to compare you on a daily basis. I think Snapchat, honestly, if you look at their innovation rate, has been double a lot of the other players in the space. So I don't think so. I just think that the perception of the shiny new penny has worn off a little bit, but that doesn't mean that they're not doing a great job as a business or they don't have a chance to be successful. Jeff, transparency is, in probably the past year, one of the hottest topics out there. Especially a corporate trading company, ourselves have actually evolved into being more transparent to companies. I mean, it's necessary.
Absolutely.
But that being said, is there something said about being too transparent?
I think there's a line that everyone has to balance, right? I think you have to choose whether you're going to have business ethics or not, how transparent you want to be, how you make your money and how you charge, and I think there's a spectrum of that.
Okay.
I think the problem in this space is people are far too aggressive on margins and not nearly educating their clients enough to what's best for them. And I think that's when you start to see decisions that are predicated not on business KPIs, but on margin decisions. That's when I get very disappointed, and it's a lot of the reason why we operate very differently than a lot of other media companies.
Yeah, and that's obviously, as we know, where the problems came in. There's all these, everyone was operating off of margin decisions.
Yeah, and I think it's an education problem. When you start to talk to clients and they don't understand that their media AOR isn't running their spends, and they're actually vendoring out to other partners, some clients don't even know that. And then they actually don't know that the vendor's taking money out of their distribution dollars.
Yeah.
Which is another problem, so you're double dipping.
Yep.
So on a procurement level, there needs to be education. On a client level, on why decisions are made, there needs to be education. And honestly, it's on the agencies. They need to put a better business model out. Like, you should still be able to make money and be a good partner.
There's so much money being shifted from television and other mediums over to digital.
Yeah.
But digital is such a broad area.
Yes.
How does one know, or I guess how do you know, you guys are also doing a lot of planning and buying, what the right mix of digital is for a company?
Yeah, there is no one answer to that. I think one of the biggest things people forget is where your brand is in its life cycle, what the relationship to your customers is, what product you are selling will all dictate those relationships. Especially when you start to look at, how many keywords do I bid on in Google? What audiences do I want to go after on Facebook? Do I want to come out with an Alexa skill? Well, I don't know. Does Colgate need an Alexa skill? Am I going to ask Amazon, how do I brush my teeth?
Right.
Probably not. I think it really is unique to each business. I think the thing is, people fail to understand what the platforms and the placements and the targeting are doing for them. And that's the biggest problem, right? People say, okay, if you're going to do DR, you do these 3 platforms. That might not be true. You can do DR on Twitter. It's just going to be largest buy. You might just do a very small spend at $10,000 for, tweet retargeting based on a keyword. That's still worth money.
Absolutely.
But you can saturate that very quickly. So I think what we try to do is balance out, honestly, I kind of look at it as a conversion rate decay curve, where you start at the top with the highest conversion rates, and then you move down the funnel on saturation. And typically what people start with, which a lot of businesses have, is AdWords, because that's someone raising their hand saying, I want to buy your product, or I'm interested in what you sell.
Let's talk about audio. Thoughts on audio these days?
Yeah, so probably one of my favorite topics right now, the most underappreciated and underserved bucket in a classical media definition. So when you think about audio, whether it's streaming or podcast, on-demand music, very much underappreciated and underserviced, almost the opposite of print. Print is the most overinvested, but actually lack of usage. I think audio is the opposite. And when you look at audio, and I'll talk specifically about podcasts and people's captive audience, the immersion of audio has never been higher, and your ability to speak to a consumer with authentic influence is something very special. And I'll use my wife as an example. She follows Michael Smerconish. She listens to him about 2 hours every day. If Michael was to say, hey, this is the best product in the space, my wife will buy it. And she's listening to over 10 hours of content a day. That level of relationship doesn't exist anywhere else.
Why do you think it's so influential in that medium and not others?
I think it's 2 things. One, you can do it while you're doing other things. And I think it's a very different use case. And when you're watching video, you need to look at it, you need to be dedicated to it. You can't sit in a car and watch video, but you can sit and listen to audio. I think a lot of people are using it for education and topics that they're interested in, or you look at Serial, which has really kind of elevated the marketplace around showing that, man, 70 million people or 50 million people will listen to one piece of content. It's just I think a new wave of things that advertisers are not utilizing to its advantage.
We've come to that time of the show, my friend. One word or couple words.
Okay.
First thing, clear. Hold on, let me get my words. Let me get my words.
You prepped for this.
Well, this I had to prep for.
Okay.
Dave Matthews.
Favorite.
Strip House.
Top 3.
Whole Foods.
Amazon.
Knicks.
I hate them.
Can.
Plead the 5th.
Twitter.
Liking the new story.
Proprietary technology.
Used too often.
As you know, Jeffrey, part of our business is trading something for something else.
Yes.
Sometimes we buy merchandise, sometimes we buy inventory of some nature. So what do I like to do with my guests? I like to bring them a little gift and we have a little fun here.
Okay.
Yes. So I didn't forget you, I did bring you something. And this is something called a bleacher creature. Now, if everyone doesn't know, Jeff is a die-hard, New England, die-hard, Boston, New England, Patriots, Celtics fan. So yes, my name is Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson used to kick my ass all the time. But Larry's a big fan of Jeff's, I think. But Jeff is
he's a legend.
Legend. Jeff loves Larry Bird. So this is fun. It's called a bleacher creature.
Okay.
And at home, you could, play and talk to him. Something you like to do.
Awesome.
So would you like something like this?
I would love it.
Good. I'm gonna hand it over to you.
Okay. What do I owe you now?
Well, that's the thing. What are you willing to give me for it?
I'll give you a hug. A man hug.
Well, we're gonna do that anyways.
Oh, okay.
What about a day of paid media?
A whole day?
Yeah, a whole day.
Woof.
Huh?
I don't think you know what my hourly rate is. What was this? $24.99.
Bleacher Creature? It's, it's authentic.
We got price tag on here? What?
That's an authentic. Come on, talk to me.
I'll
What
give
do
you
got?
4 minutes of paid media training.
You'll give me training.
Yeah.
I see. So this is what
I'm worried about
you know
your
what?
AdWords
Do me a
campaigns,
favor. Give me 15.
But only if Dan comes too.
This is great. Now you've bumped it to 30, and you're really going to love me for this. I'm going to take that 30 minutes
Okay.
of training, and I'm going to offer it to someone out there. So now,
Okay.
someone out there, and I listen, you youngsters out there who are looking to get into the space, this is a tremendous gift.
Well,
So
I'll double down. Just because it's not for you,
Oh.
I'll give an hour.
Okay, an hour, but you're only getting an hour if you're willing to give me something for it. And you will get an hour with this guy on the phone, yes, not over email or text or Twitter, he will actually speak to you,
Or in person if you're in New York.
or if you're in New York, or the tri-state area,
Yeah.
or you just feel like taking a flight. And I gotta tell you, the knowledge he will impart is invaluable, so take advantage. My friend,
Hey,
it's a pleasure as usual.
Thank you for having me.
And for those out there, be sure to tune in next time on The BAM Show, Barter and Marketing, where we get you the real deal.
Just make sure I look more beautiful than he is.
Okay.
That's all I need.
What is that, your night wristband?
You like that? It was actually a gift from Mary
Love it.
Kate, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Was Gwyneth there?
I believe she was, based on the headlines, but I did not see her.
Yeah, you had a rough night.
Yeah.